You know, the United States of America was the greatest country before Trump, and it's the greatest country now after Trump. The white supremacists want to go back. They want to go back to the days when it was legal to own slaves.
You are about to be entertained by the ape, the young man who has become a legend in his own time. Come on, and I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
I love that. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Ron Kelly Show on a Thursday, another Thursday. It's the 28th of July, already 2022. So if you haven't quite done all the things that you want to do, you need to get out there and do it now, because we got a couple of days in July, the rest of September, and then we start winding down. Kids go back to school, so on and so forth. No more music festivals, no more outdoor activities. Not until 2023. Anyway, everybody, welcome. Thank you for joining me. It's the Ron Kelly Show. And it's on blogtalkradio.com, the ronkellyshow.com. And we're broadcasting on Facebook, YouTube, and what else? Oh, Twitter. Shout out to Suzanne Newman, my friend from Staten Island, who partakes of the Ron Kelly Show nonsense every Thursday. Thank you, Suzanne. Appreciate you for listening to the Ron Kelly Show. And also shout out to my sponsor, American Porterfield Transportation. I'll tell you more about them a little bit later on. So it's just a couple of minutes past the hour, 5 minutes past the hour to be exact. And welcome on in. So, so Biden had COVID last week. Mr. Biden, the 79-year-old president. You see how people, when I watch the news or whatever, people, some of the newscasters, the broadcasters, especially the ones on Fox News, always make sure to mention the president's age. Oh, he's 79. Oh, he's 79. Oh, he's 79. The president is 79 years old. Now that's pretty, it's up there. Will it prevent him from doing the job? Does he see? I mean, you have to expect somebody who's lived almost 80 years to be a little off, just a little. And so he fell off his bike, big deal. But Biden has more fish to fry than his age. And actually, there are folks on the Democratic side, not just the Republican side, but the Democratic side, who want Biden to not run in 2024, where he'll be 81, 82 years old. And there are people on the Democratic side, especially the younger people, who want a younger candidate to run for president. Because things haven't gone quite the way Mr. Biden wanted them to be, with all the prices going up, especially the gas. It really would tweak everybody's, what. And so now inflation and loan, the interest on loans and cars and everything is skyrocketing. So Mr. Biden is in, his popularity index is like less than 40%, 30 something percent. So he's in trouble. He's in deep trouble. And we got the midterms coming up. For some of you who don't know, the midterms are the elections of the senators and I believe it's the Senate and the Congress. And so this is very important, because we will know, once that's over, we'll know who will be in charge of who will be the Speaker of the House, and who will be the Senate Majority Leader. It's very, very important. So there's a lot going on. Peace be upon those three kids. The lady in Connecticut killed her three kids. Peace be upon those kids. And I'm not sure why the lady felt like she needed to take the kids with her. She could have just went on her own. But just wow, just people are just losing it. And if there wasn't a need for if people didn't feel there was a need for more mental health resources, well, you believe it now after something like that. Just awful, just awful. So peace be upon those children. So there's a rash of there's a rash of Tide robberies that's going on in the United States of America right now. If you're near a phone or you're near your computer and you Google Tide detergent, there will be 50 stories that'll come up about people who are robbing Tide from the stores. I even saw a story where they were saying they would trade into Tide in for drugs. I mean, really? I mean, I didn't think that washing clothes would be that important, but there are people who are stealing Tide from from mostly dollar stores. And I read a story earlier about a black man, and I'll get to this in the second part of the show. I read a story about a black man who was killed by police for stealing that very same Tide. I read the story earlier. Yeah. Okay. It's I know this might be a plant. This might be a plant story. This might, because it's not on any of the major. And I'd say that they CBS News. Yeah, this might be a plant story, because we do have people who plant stories to raise. Roderick Brooks allegedly was killed after a struggle with Houston area sheriff's deputy that involved a taser. I don't know why this story is being ignored or if it's a plant story, but Roderick Brooks, 47, was killed earlier this month by Harris County Sheriff's Office Deputy Garrett Hardin, who chased the armed black man after Brooks was accused of shoplifting laundry detergent from a Dollar General store. Officials claim Brooks also punched the store clerk as he left the building. So, yeah. So according to the Houston, there's some this story is starting to circulate around a little bit. I was thinking that maybe it might have been a plant story, because there are people, and not even people in America, people in China, people in in different places, Russia, the places that don't like us. There are people who plants these stories, and sometimes we fall for it. Anyway, it's 7:12 after the 7. It's 12 minutes after now, and I'll get to that. And we'll identify that story, and also why in the black community, why are we so symbol oriented? Why is there so much symbolism in the black community? And I'll make some points, and we'll get to it after the first break. So Nancy Pelosi says she's going to Taiwan, and the Chinese have already warned us, as they say, warns that Nancy Pelosi need not go to Taiwan, because China wants to take over Taiwan, and the United States wants Taiwan to be independent. And you can tell, we're entering very dangerous territory here. Ever since the fall of the Ukraine, it seems like we're entering more and more dangerous territory. Now, the city of New York, for example, city of New York has a PSA, public service announcement about what to do if there's a nuclear attack. Yeah, I nearly fell out of my chair when I saw it. The city of New York is airing a public service announcement advising its citizens what to do in case of a nuclear attack. And you see, ever since Russia invaded Ukraine and the United States started sending billions and billions and billions of dollars over there, because Ukraine would have been done already if it wasn't for the United States of America sending weapons, weapon systems, et cetera, over there to Ukraine. They would have been done already. It would have been over. But it's because of the United States' help, it's not quite over yet. And so there's more and more talk about nuclear weapons, you know. And like I said, when I saw that public service announcement, New York City Department of Emergency Services, Department of Emergency Preparedness, there's a PSA to tell you what to do if nuclear weapon strikes the city of New York. Now, if you're in Manhattan, there's nothing you can do. You're going to melt like everybody else. Now, maybe people in New Jersey, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, you know, some of those places, if they don't get rocked by one too, they'll be fine. But if you're in Manhattan Island and the bomb hits Manhattan Island, forget it. It's a wrap. I don't know why they're even putting that out there, because if you live in the strike zone, you know, it's going to be 1,500 to 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and you're just going to vaporize. So there's no going in the house. There's no going in the basement. There's no, you know, if you live in the strike zone, you're done. But in a little while, I'm going to, after the break, it's about 15 minutes past the hour. After the break, I'm going to talk about the symbolism in the Black community and why are we so easily misled. And look, and I love my people. Don't get me wrong. I love my people. I love my Black folks, you know, but we got to snap out of it. Got to wake up. Got to wake up. Shout out to Suzanne Newman. I asked my friend from that now. Shout out to Ronald McCready, who used to listen to the program. Shout out to Lamont Gates and Stephanie Freitas and some of the other folks who partake of the Ron Kelly show. I appreciate you. I don't see you right now, but hopefully you'll get around to me at some point. All right, 16 minutes past the hour. So yeah, so Nancy Pelosi wants to go to Taiwan. You see, we just gotta. I don't want to say that we just have to stop sticking our nose into stuff. We gotta stop sticking our nose in stuff. Yeah. Because for us helping Ukraine, if anything does happen, God forbid, if a war breaks out, they'll be held to pay. See, because you got other countries too, like India and Pakistan are enemies. They've had wars for the last 3 years, last 4 years. I mean, they've had 4 wars. Now, it's not part of the main network news, but yeah, India and Pakistan are enemies. They're right next to each other, and they both have nuclear weapons. So, you know, there's a lot of hot spots. North Korea, Taiwan and China, India and Pakistan, Syria and whoever, Turkey, who's an ally of the United States. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. And, you know, and yes, we should go to work and do what we got to do and act like nothing's happening. But there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. There are hot spots all over the world that are powder kegs that are waiting to explode. And depending on who's your friend, you know, they're gonna drag other people into it. Okay, it's 7:18, everybody. 7:18. We'll come back in just a moment with more. Shout out to my people on blogtalkradio.com who are here today. Thank you so much for joining me. So we'll take a quick break. We'll come right back with more of the program. It's the Ron Kelly Show, everybody, and it's on blogtalkradio.com, the RonKellyShow.com. Yes, indeed, I am the man. What a news cycle this is. This guy has got to go. Trump has got to go. George Floyd snuffed out by this police officer who's supposed to be serving and protecting people.
It's the Ron Kelly Show.
All right, welcome back, everybody. The Ron Kelly Show is powered by Amaker and Porterfield. Didn't mean that. Powered by Amaker and Porterfield Transportation. You know, for 40 years, since 1982, Amaker and Porterfield has been providing transportation. Safe and reliable transportation to folks in the New York metropolitan area for 40 years. Amaker and Porterfield, conveniently located in Plainfield, New Jersey, services schools, field trips, churches, church trips, school districts, you name it. Amaker and Porterfield, medical transportation, you name it. Amaker and Porterfield can handle it. You can reach out to Amaker and Porterfield at amaker.porterfield@verizon.net. You can do it that way, or you can amaker.porterfield@verizon.net. That's amaker.porterfield@verizon.net, located at 307 Plainfield, 307 Arlington Avenue, I should say, in Plainfield, New Jersey, 908-753-6423. That's 908-753-6423. All right, everybody. It got a lot of kickback on the Twitter feed. The Ron Kelly Show is broadcasting on Facebook as usual, the Ron Kelly Show YouTube channel, and on Twitter as well, along with blogtalkradio.com, where all this mess got started. 22 minutes past the hour. So, let me just say one more thing, that the views and opinions expressed here are exclusively those of myself and R. Kelly Media Enterprises, LLC, and are not those of my advertisers or my support team. 22 minutes past the hour. So, so I mentioned earlier about some of the stuff that the United States of America is involved in. And I'll tell you, I mean, I'm not afraid, but I do think that, there may be some limited exchanges, but even limited exchange will be devastating. Imagine like New York, Manhattan gone, even if the rest of the country is still intact. One megaton device in New York would kill millions of people. Even if it was only one. We sent one, they sent one. So even during the Cuban Missile Crisis, some of you history buffs may know, even during the Cuban Missile Crisis, I mean, the tensions haven't been this high since the Cuban Missile Crisis, and if you don't know what the Cuban Missile Crisis was that the Russians, here we go again with the Russians were planning to put nuclear missiles on Cuban soil. Cuba being only 90 miles away from the United States of America. And the president at the time, President Kennedy, said, no, we're not going to let you put nuclear missiles on Cuba, where it would only take about 5 minutes to get to us. They like, no, you can't do that. So the United States of America put a naval blockade around Cuba and said, hey, that's it. You come through, it's going to be a problem. And, Kennedy had a lot of balls to do something like that. So the Cuban Missile Crisis. So what happens, Nick Khrushchev, who was that time's version of Putin, thank God it wasn't Putin at the time. And eventually the Russians backed down and withdrew their boats. President Kennedy said, no, you're not putting no missiles in Cuba. They can hit us in 2 minutes. No. So since the Cuban Missile Crisis, we haven't been, the tension hasn't been this high since the Cuban Missile Crisis. Me personally, I do expect maybe not an all-out war, but I mean, anything can tip the scales. Any little thing, somebody makes a mistake, boom, it's going to be a problem. So, I just live my life every day, go to work, handle my business, do what I got to do, live as I should be living. But then in the back of my mind, I'm like, wow, what if? What if? Because we can't survive without stuff. I mean, imagine if there was no Facebook, no Twitter, no Instagram, no power, no Netflix, no, none of the creature comfort, all the creature comforts that we enjoy today will be gone. Can't plug your phone. I mean, just gone because your phone's not going to work because the telecommunications system has been destroyed. Your TV is not going to work because first of all, you got no electricity. And secondly, the news and the cable systems have been destroyed. Because if there's a nuclear war, everything gets destroyed. Everything. So, I mean, I'll tell you the truth. If there's a nuclear war, a war breaks out in my lifetime, and I don't want to be around with this. And it's not because I don't have the creature comforts. I don't want to be around. Life is going to be hell. Life is going to be hell. If there's a nuclear war and a handful of people survive, it's going to be hell. Because you're not going to have anything. You can't eat food, water. There's not going to be any. You can't take a bath. There's not going to be any sewer system. It's going to be destroyed. Cable system will be destroyed. Telephone system will be destroyed. You probably can't drive your car because there's going to be too much debris in the street unless you got a Jeep with those giant-sized tires. But it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. So I'd rather just die, to be honest with you. Just let me get hit by the bomb and let me just be gone. Because I don't know if I want to live in a post-apocalyptic United States of America. I don't know. I'm like, no. Let me just die. Let me just die. I'd rather just die than to live in a post-apocalyptic United States of America. It'll be worse than the Book of Eli. Remember when Denzel Washington was trying to hide that book, trying to keep it away, and there was no electricity nowhere. No electricity, no nothing. I don't know how those people even survive, but it was a movie script, so I guess. But there was nothing. So I'd rather just die. Just let me die. If the bomb does come, just let me die. It's 24 minutes past the hour, I believe. Shout out to Lamont Gates, who says there are no threats to us. Too much alarmist info going around. Our only threat is monkeypox at the moment. Well, not true, Mr. Gates. Not true. There are. I mean, monkeypox is not a threat compared to nuclear war. Monkeypox is not a threat. No, monkeypox is nothing compared to nuclear war because nuclear war is going to knock everybody out who's in the blast area. You're going to melt like a candle because it's going to be 2,000, 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, we're crying about it being 89 and 90 degrees. Now times that by 25. Well, you know what, Lamont? It's total annihilation for both sides. There's no um, there's no winner unless somebody can come up with a way. There's no winner unless somebody can come up with a way. Unless one of the sides can come up with a way to get the other side before they notice, which is just difficult because the countries are so far away from each other. We've got satellites, they've got satellites. So we'll know the minute they shoot something off, they'll know the minute we shoot something off. I don't think it's alarmist info. I think that these nuclear weapons exist. They exist. So I don't know. Thank you, Lamont Gates. I don't want to almost die, Lamont Gates. I want to die if the bomb comes. I don't want to, near-death experience, NDE, the topics of Lamont Gates' show. I don't want to NDE. I don't want to get near death. I want to be dead if something happens. Anyway, everybody, it's exactly a half past the hour of 7 o'clock when you listen to the Ron Kelly Show. So riddle me this. We're such a symbolic people, and we don't know when we're getting bamboozled. And I do support the liberal cause, progressive. Yes, I do. But we don't know when we're being bamboozled. Now, Joe Biden promised. Joe Biden, good old Joe, promised that he would designate a black woman that he would put up a black nominee to be a Supreme Court justice. Good old Joey. We can always depend on Joe. So Joe is campaign floundering, says, okay, I need these black folks. So I'm going to throw them a bone, and they're going to grab that bone and run into the corner like we've been doing for 50 plus years. Welfare. I remember watching welfare, for example. I remember watching Diane Carroll and James L. Jones was the garbage man boyfriend. And back in those days, in like the late 60s, early 70s, a woman who was on welfare couldn't have a husband or a boyfriend. And they meant it. And so the person who was handling the caseworker would come to your house. Back in the day, the caseworker would come to your house to look in your closet to see, or under your bed, to see if there's any men's shoes or boots or whatever the case may be. That's how it was back then in welfare. We'll give you this. We'll give you this money, but that's all that you can have. You can't have nothing else. You can't have a man. You can't work. Now, I don't necessarily subscribe to the conspiracy theory about black folks and the destruction of the black family. You can call into the show if you feel, that's bothering you. It's 646-668-2838. That's 646-668-2838. 3A. You'll be calling it on the blogtalkradio.com show, but everybody be able to hear you, and you will be heard right here on the Ron Kelly Talk Radio show. So yeah, so back in the day, you had to. We'll give you this money, but don't you have no man in your house? Don't you get no boyfriend? Now I remember, and Julia, well, I call her Julia because she was Julia. She was the first black woman, Diane Carroll, peace be upon her, who passed away this year, I believe it was, who was the first black woman to star in a television show, in a network television show. The first black woman. Trailblazer, Diane Carroll. Yeah. So, so we've been taking these bones, TRA. Hey, I know, we'll pay your rent. We'll pay your rent. TRA, we'll pay your rent. We will pay your rent. TRA, WIC, we'll help you eat, but you can only eat Cheerios. You can't get Captain Crunch. You can only eat the Cheerios, plain old Cheerios. And the juice. Because I remember when I was young, and they used to have the no frills aisle. I mean, they don't have it anymore. But they used to have the no frills aisle where everything was white. All the labels were white. It was a special aisle, no frills. If you wanted some cereal, cornflakes, the box just said cornflakes, straight up. No fancy colors, no little clowns playing on the box. It was cornflakes. If you wanted like a can of corn, the can said corn. That's it. You don't know whether it's whole corn, kernel corn, a cream corn. You don't know. You won't know until you get home and open the can. That's how it was back then. They don't do that anymore because that was like government, part of the government cheese that you couldn't cut even with a hacksaw. You couldn't cut it. The cheese that would never melt. The cheese that would never melt. So I know I'm going off into Lost in Space, but this is these are the bones that were thrown to black folks. The stuff that actually I wouldn't say it dehumanized, but with this welfare, and WIC and TRA and the Social Security, SSI, and all of this stuff. Well, I wouldn't say SSI was slanted toward us, but the welfare, the WIC, the TRA, those things had taken the life out of black folks. It has made a lazy, shiftless society. Section 8. You pay $39 a month. You see, because you're not teaching anybody any responsibility. You're not showing people how to be responsible when you're just giving them everything that they need. You're not showing people how to be responsible. You're showing people how to be irresponsible. So these little things that we're given, they may help us in the immediate sense, but these things have crippled the black community. Crippled. All given to us by the Democrats. Now, do I support? Am I a liberal? Yes. But there are some things that we have been given that are just have destroyed the black community. So good old Joe Biden running for president last year, 2020. Joe Biden says, I will nominate a black woman to sit on the Supreme Court. Oh, and if the Republicans and the white Republicans and the conservatives were howling with objections. Howling. and rightfully so. So, so what happened was that Joe Biden's, with the help of Jim Clyburn, congressman from South Carolina, with the help of Jim Clyburn, because Biden was losing every primary he walked into. So what was the first one he won? South Carolina. From South Carolina, the ball started rolling, and Biden wound up in the White House because of black people. And to sweeten the pot, good old Joe says, well, you know what? I'm going to nominate a black woman to sit on the Supreme Court. Oh, it's historic. Oh, it's symbolic. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. Oh, it's nothing. And, you know, sorry, Miss Jackson, I'm not to take anything away from Miss Jackson, not to take anything away from her. She certainly deserved it. You know, she's the only Supreme Court justice that actually had a job, that actually worked. She's the only one. She was Ketanji Brown Jackson. She was what do you call those people? She was a public defender, a federal public defender. I mean, giving none of Amy Coney Barrett, none of these people none of these people on the Supreme Court has worked as hard as Ketanji Brown Jackson has to become. And she's definitely earned it. She's definitely earned it. But what's the significance of what's the significance of the nomination and confirmation of Ketanji Brown Jackson? Lamont Gates says Joe got in because of black people. Lamont Gates says Joe got in because of black people. I believe that he did. I believe that Joe Biden did get in with maybe not primarily or solely with the black vote, but the black vote did help Joe Biden become the president. And then he sweetened the pot. Because we fall for anything as black folks. We fall for anything. We just fall for anything. So he sweetens the pot and says, well, I'm going to nominate a black lady to be the president. I mean, to be a black lady who will be nominated and possibly confirmed to be a Supreme Court justice. But what does it mean? What does it mean that Ketanji Brown Jackson is now a Supreme Court justice? What does it mean that Kamala Harris is the vice president of the most powerful country on earth? In 1 second away, especially with Biden being 79 years old, but Kamala Harris can become the president at any time. The news tomorrow could be, Biden's dead, and Kamala Harris will be moving into the White House, in the Situation Room, being told about all the chaos and drama that's going on all around the world. She'll be the most powerful woman on earth ever. But what's the symbolism of that? You see, we fall for anything. See, because everybody's clapping their hands and singing Kumbaya and all of this stuff. It's a good career move for Ms. Jackson. Yeah, absolutely, by all means. Can't take that away from her. She deserved it. She worked hard, and she did what she needed to do to get to that spot. But once now what? Now what? Ketanji Brown Jackson is Supreme Court justice, but has no influence. Vote means nothing with Tansy Brown Jackson. And I don't mean to say nothing, but her vote she won't be the deciding vote on anything. And, look at and we're so happy because we think we accomplished something. We think we accomplished something when these symbolic things happen. Barack Obama, for example. Barack Obama, 2008. Oh, my goodness. 14 years ago already. Barack Obama. We just knew we was going to the promised land. Yes. We got a black president and a black first lady and two little black girls running around in the White House. And we thought that the crisis was over when Barack Obama became president. He was the president for 8 years. What happened? You see, that's where you gotta appreciate. You know what? Let me take a quick break. I'll come back and wrap this thing up, and I'll compare the LGBTQ movement to the African American movement. I'll do that in just a second. All right, everybody, it's the Ron Kelly Show. And it's on blogtalkradio.com, the RonKellyShow.com, and on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
The Ron Kelly Show. And on the web, theronkellyshow.com.
Some statistics are surprising. Some are unbelievable. And some are simply unacceptable. Right now, nearly 30% of U.S. students aren't finishing high school. Nearly 30%. And that's the average. In many places, it's even higher than that. And fixing it is a responsibility that we all share. This is President Obama, and I urge everyone, not just parents, but friends and neighbors and family members, to take responsibility for encouraging the high school students in your communities, to support them, challenge them, push them a little, and do whatever it takes to help them make it through. Because this is one statistic we simply can't afford to ignore.
You can do your part by going to boostup.org and sending an email, a text message, or even a wake-up call to a student at risk of dropping out. Go to boostup.org and provide the boost that's needed to make it to graduation. A message from the U.S. Army and the Ad Council.
Broadcasting to the world.
Hello.
It's the Ron Kelly Show. The news you want.
The perception still that a black man with a gun is a criminal.
With the topics you need.
Marching might have been good for back in the day, but what kind of effectiveness is marching have on society today?
Ron Kelly.
Black males 18 to 24 years old have the highest homicide offending rate.
It's the Ron Kelly Show.
So don't get it twisted.
All right, everybody, we are back. It's the Ron Kelly Show, and it's on YouTube, the Ron Kelly Show YouTube page. Go over there and subscribe, my peoples. Twitter, you can follow me on Twitter, the Ron Kelly Show on Twitter, and, of course, Facebook, where there's about 5,000 or so folks who follow the Ron Kelly Show. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's draw some comparisons between the LGBTQ community and the Black community. You see, the LGBTQ community is not going to sit back and with the symbolism nonsense. We got a black president, Barack Obama. I'm not saying that Barack Obama didn't do anything, but we had a black president. What happened? Not much. Not much. And we're clapping our hands and stomping our feet because Kamala Harris is the vice president of the United States, a ceremonial title. So if let's say Joe Biden lives out his presidency, only thing we can say is that a black woman was the vice president of the United States. Because with the LGBTQ community, they do stuff, and what they do is they change laws. They change laws. Like gay people couldn't get married at one time. Now they can. Now that's about to get snatched back by the Supreme Court. They're going to kill that one. So you might as well get mad now, LGBTQ community, because Clarence Thomas and his homeboys are going to hack the gay marriage bill. That's going to be gone. At one time, in marriage equality, I should say. Marriage equality. There was a time when two people who would get, first of all, you couldn't get married. You couldn't leave your pension or whatever to your spouse or your significant other if you died. So all those laws have been changed. All those laws have been changed. See, that's what we got to get into. We got to get into law changing. And all of this symbolism, so we got a black president, so what? We got a black vice president, so what? We got a black Supreme Court justice, so what? Because it didn't change anything. You know what I'm saying? It didn't change anything. It's 10 minutes before the hour. It didn't change anything. Having a black Supreme Court justice is not going to change anything. Having a black president for two terms, 8 years, didn't change anything. And having a black Supreme Court justice is not going to change anything. A black vice president, it's not going to change anything. See, because with the LGBTQ, they weren't trying to put their people in the positions. They weren't trying to be president. They weren't trying to be governors. They were working on changing laws, Lamont Gates. They wanted to change laws. And they did. They did. You see, that's where it's at. That's where the money is. Changing the law. We just got the anti-lynching. That should have been going a long time ago. And we just got the anti-lynching law in place. Just got it. That should have been years and years and years and years ago. Oh, something's flying on it. Yeah. And we're just getting an anti-lynching law. To even use the word lynch, still, it's just unbelievable. Because we're not in the business of changing laws. We're into the business of symbolism. Also, we got a black Supreme Court justice. Now we can sit back on our heels and no. Because what law is she going to be able to change? And no disrespect to Ketanji Brown Jackson. No disrespect to her. She's a scholar. She's a smart lady. She's a Harvard graduate, I believe it is. Some highfalutin Ivy League school. She was a public defender. She served. She has, there's nothing I can say about her credentials. Nothing. But what is it going to change? That's my question. What is it going to change? What is going to change? You see, this is the problem. This is the problem. Because, we stuck our chests out when Ketanji Brown Jackson was nominated and then confirmed. And she's going to fall into the gap. Not 8 minutes before the hour, she's gonna fall into the gap. You're never gonna hear from her again. And maybe on occasion she'll have something to say, and it's not because she's derelict or anything like that. It's just where she's going to be. All right, Lamont Gates says Brown and Obama's elections prove our country has progressed. So he did change something. If one expects community change, so it starts with the individual. No lawmaker can change your character. And you're right about that, Lamont Gates. I don't think that it was enough. You see, because Ketanji Brown Jackson is a Supreme Court justice. Barack Obama was the United States president. See, we need to get down to the ground level, Lamont Gates. We need to get down to the ground level. We need to get down to the police chiefs, the mayors, these folks, the governors. Those are the people that we need to engage. Because even with the enormous power that Barack Obama had as president of the United States, Lamont Gates, there was only been so much he can do, even with his power. So Ketanji Brown Jackson, one, at the top of the jurists in America, at the very top. But she can't do it by herself, and Barack Obama couldn't do it by herself. Now, I don't believe that our country progressed because Barack Obama and Ketanji Brown Jackson and Kamala Harris. I don't think that because you're still hearing about black folks. You're still hearing about black folks getting killed. You know what I'm saying? Black folks are still getting killed. You know what I'm saying? Black folks are still being killed. You have a Cincinnati police officer right now, Miss Valentino, Lamont Gates. Look her up. Miss Valentino is a city of Cincinnati police officer who was overheard on her radio saying, effing niggers. I hate those niggers. I hate those niggers. She was heard. I can say it because I'm not going to get. And that's what Miss Valentino, the city of Cincinnati police officer, that's what she was overheard saying on her police radio. So if we're gonna progress, Lamont Gates, how about we progress where the power is on the ground? Police officers, mayors, council members. That's where the power is. The power is not with Barack Obama or Kamala Harris, rather, Ketanji Brown Jackson. No, the power is on the ground. So these police officers, these racist police officers, Jayland Walker shot 46 times. The brother shot and killed while he was on the ground. Over a container of detergent. Meanwhile, the Buffalo killer taken into custody. The Colorado shooter taken into custody. The Highland Park killer of 7 taken into custody. The Charlotte church shooter, Dylan Roof, taken into custody. Meanwhile, our people are getting killed over traffic infractions. What sense does that make? So no, I don't think we progressed at all. Just because they elected Barack Obama twice does not mean that we have overcome. So we're still being abused. We're still being railroaded. We're still being set up. We're being sent to prison on shoddy evidence. We're being sent to prison on weak eyewitness testimony. So did Ketanji Brown and Barack Obama's elections prove our country has progressed? No. Because on the ground, we're still suffering the same injustices that we've been suffering for years. The same injustices. So have we progressed? No. Just because of an election? Because what did they do when Barack Obama tried to put up a nominee for the Supreme Court? They said no, and he had more than a year left in his term. And white folks, the senators said no, you ain't putting up nobody. So even with the enormous power of the president, he was held back by a senator, Mitch McConnell. So now
90 seconds.
So no, I don't think we've got 90 seconds left to the Blog Talk Radio show, and there's about a minute and 30 seconds beyond that. It's okay. Yeah. There's a minute left to the Ron Kelly show on Blog Talk Radio, and So we're going to end it at the same time. It's 7:58. It's 58 minutes past the hour. So yeah, so what progression? What progression? I don't think so, Lamont Gates. But you're welcome to come on.
60 seconds.
You're welcome to come on the program and discuss it with me. Shout out to Ronald McCready. He's on vacation down in Florida somewhere. Hope you're having a great time, brother. I go on vacation in August, and I will be jetting off to someplace special. And there won't be any Ron Kelly show for that week. So yeah. Shout out to Frank Chesney, who's listening to the Ron Kelly show. I'm not even sure who Frank Chesney is, but there's a lot of people listening to the Ron Kelly show. I don't know who they are. But thank you, Frank. Thank you for listening, for giving me the thumbs up on the Ron Kelly radio show. Yeah, Lamont Gates, but I don't think that 20 seconds left on Blog Talk Radio family. We'll see you back here next week for another edition of the Ron Kelly show. So everybody take care of yourselves. We'll see you back here
10 seconds.
bright and early for another edition of the Ron Kelly show on Blog Talk Radio. Now, let me flip over to StreamYard. And again, I don't think that we've progressed at all, Lamont Gates. But like I said, you're welcome to come on my radio show, or I'll be happy to come on your radio show and we can talk about it. All right, everybody, that's it. I think I'll go have a cigar now. It's 8 o'clock Eastern. It's 8 o'clock Eastern. It's 4 o'clock Pacific time. And we'll see you back here next week for another edition of the Ron Kelly Show right here on broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So we'll see you back here next week. So until then, I'd like to say it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice, and that we may not have it all together, my people, but together we can certainly have it all. And Lamont Gates, there was no progression. Thanks everybody for listening. I'm out.